All right, so this is a walkthrough of the Qualtrics portion of the survey project. So the first thing we're going to do, my little word outline here, is we're going to create a new project. So once I've opened Qualtrics, I'm just going to click on Create New Project. It's then going to ask me what I want to do. There's some canned kind of approaches. We're just going to create a survey from scratch. So I click on Survey, and then I click on Get Started. So I'm going to name this project let's call it something exciting like Basic Survey. And then I click Create. And that's going to drop me into the project editor. And it starts off with the name here of the survey, Basic Survey, and then a starter question and a starter question block. So Qualtrics organizes your survey into different blocks, and you can give those blocks different properties. We're going to be very simple and just use one block. So the next step here, step 3, I'm going to name this block. So I'm going to come over here and just call this maybe Big 5 Facets. This is not something that the survey taker will see, but it helps you stay organized in terms of what you're doing. Okay, and then right now I have a multiple choice question. I'm going to change that to matrix. So the way I do that, watch here when I click on the question, it opens up the editor for the question. It's a context specific menu. It's right now set to multiple choice. I'm going to change it to matrix. So now you'll see that I've got this different organization here. It's no longer multiple choice. It's a standard Likert scale that you see a lot of in social science research. And we're going to set up some details here. So one thing I'm going to do is set it to a 5-point scale. Right now it's a 3-point scale. So I'm going to change it. Oops, sorry, not statements. Down here, scale points. I'm going to change it to 5 scale points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale points. And I'm going to use the suggested scale points. And the default menu is from disagree to agree. And you can click here and you can see, you can say like satisfied, unsatisfied, inappropriate, not appropriate. There's a number of different scales you can use, but oftentimes strongly agree to strongly disagree works. Whoops, that got reversed. Let's see. I want it to have agree on the right hand side. Oh wait, okay, so I'm going to turn off reverse order there, sorry. Okay, so I got the scale set up now the way I want it to work. The next thing I need to do is just give this general instruction. So this is just the generic thing where I tell the participant, please indicate your agreement with the following items. And in other contexts, you might have more fancy instructions, but for our purposes, that's fine. All right, and then there's this thing I can label. You'll see where this shows up in Excel when you export it, but it helps to come in here and click on this and edit the question label. And I'm going to take out this full text and I put in just an abbreviation, which is the Big 5 factor. And you'll see it just makes your Excel data file easier to deal with if you've abbreviated what you're dealing with here. Okay, so I just did this thing here. I set the question label. Next thing I'm going to do is import the 3 factor scales. So you should have this other document where you have 3 different facets, Big 5 facets. You may have different ones than I do. That's fine. I have left some labels on here just to keep me straight about what I'm importing. You'll see how I get rid of those labels in a second. But I'm just going to copy that, drop back in here to Qualtrics, and here how you can see this is really easy to, it's a very fast way of importing stuff. So I just click on where it says click to write statement 1, and I just hit Control V, and it drops in all those different scale items. So I don't have to retype them all or do any kind of fancy import thing. I just grab one of these starter items that it has there and then define it. Okay, so I have some junk in here I want to get rid of now. I had labeled these, right? This is extroversion, assertiveness. I'm going to remove that statement. Agreeableness, trust. I'm going to remove that statement. Remove that statement. So now I'm left just with the items. And I got 4 items per facet subscale, right? Okay, so now when this is going to get exported, you want to capture that these things are measuring different scales. So I'm going to set that up in the background, the variable names basically that the data are going to have for this. So I'm going to do this thing called recode values in question export tags. Okay, so I'm still in the statements menu. I'm going to come over here and scroll way down until it turns blue. And then near the bottom is recode values. So I'm going to click on that. And what this is doing is setting up what happens behind the scenes in terms of how Qualtrics is labeling stuff so that when it exports it, you can make sense of it more easily. So instead of having it export the literal word strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, etc., it's just, I'm asking it just to export the numbers. And then over here, you see these are the items we have, but we don't know which scales they go with. So if I come in and say question export tags, I can name these. And oftentimes it's useful to have a certain kind of naming convention that's consistent across your variables. So let's just recall, has an assertive personality. If I switch back, that's extroversion assertiveness. And so what I'm going to do is use a standard 2-letter code where for extroversion, I'm just going to have EX and then AS for assertiveness, and that's going to be the first item. Okay, and then this one is going to be the same thing, but 2. This one, the same thing, but 3. And this one, the same thing, but 4. All right, and then has a forgiving nature. That's different. That's agreeableness. Remember, that's agreeableness trust. So I'm going to come in here and go AGTR, abbreviating agreeableness trust, and that's going to be 1. Then I'm going to copy that, and let's just go ahead and paste this on the next 3 items. Then I come back and I change that to, oops, I killed an R there. Got 2, 3, 4. All right, and then I got my last facet, and that's negative emotionality anxiety. So I'm going to come in here and call this NE, negative emotionality anxiety, AN, and that's 1. And I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to come in and label this 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, I'm setting stuff in the background. This is nothing the participant's going to see, but it'll make it a lot cleaner when I get this data exported. Okay, so at this point, I've got a scale that's set up. I got a survey, and I got these different scale items, and somebody could go through and take it. To make sure everything's working well, I'm going to do this thing that's called, I'm going to generate some test responses. So this is just asking the computer to make up some values. I'm going to go to where it says, right here where it says tools, and I'm going to come down and go generate test responses. And the default is 5. Let's make it generate 10. And I say start test, and it kind of shows me what it does, and it's generated 10 responses. I say woohoo! I hit close. And at this point now, I have actual data. Now it's bogus data because I just had the computer generate it, but I'm going to export it to Excel and just make sure everything works and get everything set up. So it's kind of like a dry run. All right, so I'm on my last step here now. Export to Excel data analysis. So I'm going to go up to here to data and analysis. Right, I've been working with the survey. I'm going to skip distribution for right now. I'm just going to go to data and analysis. And it's going to give me this interface. And I need to decide what I'm going to do. I'm going to export and export data. And then I got to decide what I want to do here. I'm going to export Excel, and I'm not going to use the choice text. I want to actually get those numbers that I set up. So you'll see when you export it, but instead of getting like the phrase strongly agree, you get the numeric values. Okay, and then I can hit download. It takes a second, and it's going to create this, and then it gives me this pop-up, and I can go ahead and open that. And then I'm going to be, at this point, working with an Excel file. And the other little video I have for you tells you how you clean this up and do some stuff in it in Excel. Okay, that is it.